2 days later, the team arrives safely in Dege, now 750 miles from their starting point at the river's source. Ken Warren was reunited with his wife Jan, the road support team leader.
At every opportunity, I would come across these people who were interested in my blonde hair, but one of the things they wanted to do was to feed us and to share their food, and they were always so generous.
What I need is, I want a photograph of one of them, and I want to know what it says.
At the monastery in Dege, the block printing of prayers keeps many aspiring young monks hard at work. Theirs is an ancient tradition devoted to the teachings of Buddha. But Dege is of the modern world as well, a city of wood and stone set on a branch of the mighty Yangtze. Kayaker Paul Sharp and oarsman Ron Matson rode the tributary into town, attracting a big crowd. The kayaks serve a special function on a big whitewater trip such as this. They can scout ahead, reporting back by radio so that the less maneuverable rafts can anticipate the river or get to one side before heading into a hole. Paul Schott from Aspen, Colorado, is a cameraman and a kayaker for the team. His judgments will play a large part in the team's ability to proceed safely.
Because of its size and shape, a kayak is much more responsive to the waves and currents found in a river than a raft is. This can be both exhilarating and very frightening.
Just below Dege, Paul stopped to watch a boat made out of animal skin on the river.
He is a good paddler, yes, but he needs to learn how to use the kayak paddle, so he uses both sides.
Afterwards, Paul put on a demonstration to the delight of the various ethnic Chinese who had gathered along the Yangtze. After a 2-day rest, the rafters got ready to go. The next meeting with the road team was scheduled for Bataan, the halfway point in the journey. By the maps, it appeared that Bataan lay some 240 miles downriver, but thus far, the maps had proved unreliable. For the rafters, the river had become a kind of world unto itself, hidden from the plains beneath the steep canyon walls. They had been traveling almost without interruption for 5 weeks, living in wet clothes, eating freeze-dried food, and wondering at the deep silence of the Yangtze. On the first day out of Dege, the group spotted an old monastery from the river.
Well, this must be this guy's whole lifetime. Must just be spent on these rocks. Gotta be incredible. I just hope they don't say the same thing over and over again.
The stone carvers were making mani stones or prayer stones inscribed with Buddhist scripture. They see the life of devotion as the best way to attain the nirvana so central to Buddhism. For Jan Warren and the road support team, the trip was altogether a different experience. In a constant effort to find good food and water, fuel, and other items, Jan spent a good deal of time traveling from remote city to remote city, learning the ways of the Chinese marketplace.
How much? Going into this little noodle place was a delight to me. It was so delicious, and they showed us how they made all these things. But it was incredible to have food because it had meat on it and on the plate, and we were starving for meat, and it was just absolutely wonderful.
The 3 Chinese members of the Sino-American expedition, along with everyone else for that matter, were convinced that the really big stuff was just ahead. Paul Sharp continued to scout the section out front as the river started to move about 40,000 cubic feet of water per second. The distance between the road support team and the river team was growing. They were out of radio communication with one another and had no other choice but to trust to their meeting in Bataan. Ansel, Nance, and others hiked ahead on the 3rd morning to figure out why their sleep had been interrupted by what sounded like sonic booms and highway noises in the night. They found that it was the sound of water ripping through the canyons. The team camped and lashed all 4 rafts together to get ready for the run. Ron Matson handled the rigging.
Back when we were putting the trip together, we knew we'd encounter big water, so we devised this plan, a buddy and I, of rigging the boats up in a diamond, which worked real effectively. After I got home and told him about it, though, he couldn't even remember telling me anything. He had forgotten that we'd even talked about it. But it effectively gives us a boat 36 feet long and 24 feet wide with 4 oarsmen running it.
Well, I don't know. I thought the one up above that we haven't really figured a name out for yet was big, but I think this one's bigger. Certainly got more waves in it. What do you estimate they are? 12 foot?
Might be it's like the trough behind that first
yeah,
one, that second one.
I'm going to guess they're 15 or maybe better. Anyhow, you got the boats all rigged up. Chu, now you be sure and explain to, and you know, and John knows, but you be sure and explain to Chang and Xu and John about the front. It's really vital that they be ready to move, because that front boat's going to really get hit hard, and make sure that they go to the high side if there is any high siding, but don't try to lean over or anything. Just make sure they hang on tight. They're going to get really pounded. So you explain that to them. And key thing is we've got to get in, pulled in as quick as possible, and Ron thinks we got a chance for that first eddy down below, and we'll try for it. And you also tell the 3 in front they've got to quickly start bailing, even if they have to jump to other boats. 3 of them separated the boats, we got to bail. Like, all get out to get over, because the boats will be filled with water. All right, okay, let's go get them.
With a deep breath and a pledge to meet each other on the other side of the rapids, the team set off to meet their biggest challenge to date. Later, one of them said it was like getting on a train without any stops. Oddly enough, Paul Schott decided to run this fearsome stretch after the rafters. Paul's safe descent meant that the whole team had come through badly shaken but unharmed. Unfortunately, the same could not be said for the boats.
I lost my hat.
Moravia's got a ripped tube, left rear, about a foot and a half rip. That can be repaired. The Proud Mary, the Havasu's got, I think, a little bit worse one in the left rear. Other than that, we just came out of it
Amazingly well.
amazingly well, incredibly well, considering the water we came through.
It was only after Paul rounded the bend that the rafters knew he was safe.
You've done fine.
You did great.
From 100 feet downstream. I couldn't believe it.
A lot of water in that
God,
case.
they're all leaking. You know, we had some real close ones. The toughest one was when we came around that corner way up at the
Yeah.
top, and like you said, there was that big rock. We were headed right towards it, and the last minute we spun off.
Yeah.
And that was the one that would have stopped us.
Yeah.
That was the tough one.
And then I came around the corner, didn't see you guys, and I saw the huge hole, and then downriver I find this oar and the eddy. And
Yeah.
oh my God.
But we ran most of it with those two blown tubes.
Hey, this is neat. It's bright.
Ron and Ansel set about repairing the rafts. Each one is made up of 6 independent air chambers so that one rip does not necessarily deflate the entire craft. Clearly, the river was beginning to take a toll on the equipment.